Hello everyone, my name is Yusuf and welcome to part 7 of HTML for Beginners. Now in the last part we discussed the style tag and how you can use it to separate your styling code from HTML. We only took one example of how to style all the tags in a certain web page. Now we're going to take a look at identifying certain elements to style. So today we're going to be studying two new HTML attributes, which are ID and class. Both of these are used for styling. Let's take a look. Now these are used to uniquely identify the certain elements that they are applied to. Now any specific element can have multiple classes, but it can only have one ID. Now for identification purposes, ID and class don't really differ that much. Class is more used for JavaScript, which we're going to discuss way later. And for the purposes of this video series, most of the time we're going to be using ID. But in the demo, I will be showing you an example of both. Now, here's how we would apply an ID. Here's a paragraph tag. It has the ID attribute and it's set to my paragraph. And here's how we would use a class. And we also have a paragraph and it has the class my classy paragraph. Now let's take a look at how we would use ID in styling. Now here we have a block of styling code. Now the hashtag comes first and then the ID. This is the most simple case of how you would use an ID to identify elements for styling purposes. And for class, we simply use the dot before the class name itself. So here we have, it's applying to any element that has the class my classy paragraph would have a red color, 16-point font size, and any serif font family. Now we're going to take a look at a quick demo. And right here I have opened up the same web page that we have used in the previous video, which is our second web page. Make sure that you open it up with a text editor. Okay, now let me just put in an exclamation mark right here, and we're going to be putting some new paragraphs. Now, since we're talking about dogs and cats that have green eyes, we're going to say, I have weird alien pets. Now, if you've watched the previous video, you know that we have styled any paragraph to look like this, font size of 17, you would completely expect what we would get here, which is another paragraph with a font size of 17 and a green border. And there we go, this is our paragraph. Now let's just say we want this paragraph only to have a red font color. Okay, now let's give it an ID of aliens. And we're going to come here in our styling block and put in a hashtag. And let's put some spacing here. And let's put in the ID which we used, which is aliens. And let's give it a color of red. And let's also override the font size that we've been using to, let's say, 20 points. Now save this. If we reload this, now this particular paragraph now has 20 point font size and a red font color. Let's also override the border color to brown. Now remember, we can specify the properties of the border individually, like this. Now this should give us the border color to be brown. As you can see, it does. Well, HTML has sort of a reddish brown, but it's fine. Now let's take a look at class. Let's say, I don't know, let's also say save the environment from last time, from the previous videos. /p, and we're going to give it a class of environment. And I'm going to come here and start applying styling. And let's say environment, which is the name of our class. Close. And come here and give it a green font color. And a Menlo font family. Now save. You'd expect that we would have a paragraph which has a green color. Now, of course, the font size is still applied to it because it's still a p tag. So now for both of these, we're applying both this and this for the first one and this for the second one. Unless, of course, we are overriding anything from the original p tag. Let's save, reload this, and here we are. We have another paragraph that says save the environment. It has a Menlo font size and a green font color. Now, final example, I'm going to add in another paragraph with the same ID as the aliens one. And yeah, let's say aliens. And save it, reload, and there we are. Now we simply gave it the ID of aliens and it automatically applied the styling from the aliens ID in our style tag to it. Now, as a final example, I'm going to show you how to apply multiple classes to a tag. I'm going to come here and create a new paragraph, say environment. Let's give it the same class that we've used for the previous paragraph, which is also environment. Now, here's how we would give it another class. You spacebar, and then you just write the name of the other class. In which case, let's say air. Then you close the attribute, and that's it. Now, this tag will have two classes applied to it. Now, you'd expect, if we come here, we'd have another paragraph with the same styling as this one. So let's see it. There we go. We have an environment paragraph with the Menlo font and the color green. Now, if we also give here another class, which is air, which we have just used, and let's just give it a border color of blue, so notice the difference. And there we go. Now our paragraph here has a blue border color. This pretty much wraps it up for classes and ID, which are used for identification purposes in CSS. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you like the video, please hit the like button. If you have any questions or need any further clarification, please do leave a comment and or contact me on Twitter. I'm at ysami917. Okay, so thank you guys again for watching. See you next time.